What is up, everybody, and welcome to Tino's Time. How are you doing today? Happy Monday. I want to welcome everybody to this MLB prediction show as me and my man SouthSideDeetch. Is that how you say it, right?
Deitch.
What is it?
Deitch.
Deetch. Okay, SouthSideDeetch. Want to make sure I get it right. Me and him are going to be here and we're going to talk and we're going to go over and we're going to cover what happened in the wild card round. And then we're going to go over everything that is going to go down in the divisional round. But hold on, I'll be right back. I got to go turn my TVs off. I forgot. So I'll be right back in 2 seconds. Okay, well now we're back. We're back to start it. Here we go. Sorry, dum. Always forget to do something. So everybody, welcome to Tino's Time. Welcome Southside. Welcome for coming and hanging out. I appreciate you joining me here on Tino's Time to talk a little baseball. It's been crazy, especially as
Yeah,
White
thanks
Sox
for
fans.
having me.
We thought we'd be here right now, man. I thought we'd be celebrating. We'd be in this divisional round. We'll be partying. Tony will be doing his thing. No, we're sitting at home as usual. Well, gotta love being a White Sox fan, huh?
Yeah, quite a bit of ups and downs this season.
It was awful. But it is down to the final 8 teams in the MLB. So before we talk about the wild card series, let's talk about the 8 teams that did survive and that will be facing in the division that will be playing in the divisional round, I should say. And this is the bracket. We have the Cleveland Guardians. Make sure I say that right. The Cleveland Guardians went out and they defeated and they beat. Oh my God, they beat the Rays. They went out and beat the Rays. Man, I was surprised they beat the Rays 2-0. Were you surprised with the Guardians beating the Rays like that? I was hoping they were gonna quack their ass right out of the playoffs and lose 2-0.
I had mixed feelings going into the series. Cleveland's pitching, which has been consistent for probably as long as I've been alive, they just have great pitching. Even if it's for young guys, they for some reason just bring up young pitchers and they just succeed in the majors. But I mean, both those games were close where Tampa just did not take advantage of any of their opportunities to score. And that really that was the series. I mean,
It was like watching the White Sox play. I swear to God. Like just watching the series, I was just like, man, I can't deal with it. It was the Rays were just like you said, they couldn't hit the ball, and then they're pitching, like being a Sox fan, we know don't pitch to Jose Ramirez. It's all you have to do, and you win the game. That's all you have to do. And they pitched to him, and he won one game, and then the second game they just So now the Guardians are gonna go up against the Bombers of New York. The team, how many games did they win this year? 100 and did they win 100? Right, it was 100 and
I think
two.
I think so. Yeah.
I think 100. Yeah, because I know both New York team. Yeah, oh they won 99. I guess not. I thought they won 100. They did not. It was the Astros that did. My bad. Okay, my stats are all wrong today. That's okay. But Guardians now are going up against the Yankees in the divisional round, and I don't know how you feel, but I just do not think the Guardians have any shot. I mean, they did good. They played the Rays. They won. They won the weakest division in the MLB. Let's be real here, as Sox fans, and I'll say it a lot because I go reference to it. But we know how bad the division is. Like, let's be real, it's awful. And now they got to play with the big boys. And you saw what they did during the regular season. That whole division did nothing versus the good teams. Do you see the Guardians have any shot with Jose, with Naylor, with because you talked about it a little bit before we started recording. They don't got Beaver and McKenzie starting it off. They got Caltrone.
Yeah, Castro, that's his name, or how it's pronounced. I think the big thing for them is they have to beat Garrett Cole in game one, or I pretty much think it's over. I mean, you need to get a lead, and if you can't do that, because at least if you get a lead, you can try and manipulate it with your receiver, maybe get 2 starts on short rest. But if not, I mean, you could be out in 3 games. I mean, that's really just what it comes down to.
I mean, yeah, and that's the thing. I feel like this series is gonna either be like, it's gonna be one way, because like with that one series, they didn't hit the ball. Like they didn't hit. They did a little bit, but the Yankees have Judge, they have Stanton, they have all these guys that are going to go out and hit a bunch of home runs, and I feel like it's going to be a very high-scoring series to the point where, like, the Guardians just aren't going to catch up because they don't have the same firepower as the Yankees do. So,
and you're just relying on young pitchers who've never been in the.
They are the youngest team in baseball, and you got to give them credit. Like, I give them all the credit in the world. They went out, they did what they had to do. They beat the shit out of the Sox, the Royals, the Tigers. They did what they had to do. They won the division and everything. They got past the Rays. Like I said, I was shocked. But I think it's time for the Guardians to go home now. So,
I don't think anyone who's a Sox fan can be disappointed this season.
No,
not at all. Very quickly out of that round.
I'm celebrating, man. I'm rooting for the Yankees all day long. So, and I might be a bitter White Sox fan, but I don't care. I go Yankees. And I don't like to say that very much because I'm not a Yankees fan. So, you know. But now let's talk about a team, the other series in the American League that happened, and that was very shocking, was the Seattle Mariners ending their playoff drought after, 11 years? The last time they were in the playoffs was 2001. That was the year that Griffey was in it? They went out and they beat the Blue Jays. The team with Bo, Vlad, they just went out and they moved on in the wild card round.
I think that's something to point out is these road teams really came to play.
They did. And you thought this,
on the wild card with the 3 home games for the higher seed, you're kind of like, this seems a bit unfair, but they proved us all wrong. I mean, I think 3 out of the 4 series were won by the visiting team.
Exactly. Well, and that's the thing where it was like when this thing came out, it was like you want to have that series at home. You want to make sure you have it because it's going to be an advantage. But it really wasn't. Like it was for like some teams. But nobody saw Seattle coming out winning 2-0. Do you like, while we're talking about, do you like the 2 game, like the 2 out of 3? Or do you like the 1 game? How do you feel about them kind of changing it?
I enjoy baseball, so I need more games people can add. We just didn't mind. I don't mind. But I mean, it is a different approach that you have to take because you have to take into account if you do go 3 games, what is your plan afterwards if you win? Because then you're sitting there with someone who's been waiting for you essentially for the 3 days that you've been playing. Just like sitting there with chops, like, all right, we got you. Like, I mean, that's what it comes down to. I mean.
Well, exactly. And that's the thing where it's like, it just, I don't know. I like it, like you said. Like, I love baseball, so I'll watch as many baseball games as possible. Like, I watched almost every game in every series because as much as I could. Like, I'm one of those, like, on Sundays, I got the Sunday ticket. I love sports. It could be on all day long. And it's just one of those things. It just, like, I don't know. I just don't know what exactly is going to happen. Did you see that thing, though, where they expanded playoffs in it? Like, hypothetically, the expanded playoffs from 2020.
Oh, yeah.
And what the bracket would look like. That would have been wild to see, like a basketball type style. But I kind of hope they do keep it like this, because it like you said, more baseball games. Never have enough baseball. But the Mariners are moving on, and now they are going on, and they are facing the 106 win team. They're the 100+ win team besides the Mets. Poor Mets. We'll talk about the Mets in a minute. But the Astros are going up against the division rival. I guess you could say the division rival. But team hasn't been in the playoffs in forever. They're going up against them. And, man, I hope and I pray Seattle can pull another rabbit out of their hat and beat the Astros to bang in the trash cans, get them out of the playoffs. I just don't want to see them win nothing. I'm over. I'm over the Astros.
I think
Seattle's my pick.
Astros is they did beat, but they played such fundamental baseball that you can't, like, as you're watching them, you're like, I hate you, but on the same token, you're like, this is not straight baseball being played right here. Like, even when the Sox played them last year in the playoffs, you're just like, they do everything right. The second you make a mistake, they immediately take advantage of them.
Yeah, and that's exactly what it's about. You have to take advantage of what these, especially in the playoffs. And then you saw that in a lot of these games, and a lot of these in the wild card round. It was like the Jose Ramirez. Ramirez beat him, and that was over. That was it. They couldn't hit the ball. That's all it takes. And like even like the one game last year the Sox won, they finally learned how to hit the ball, and that was it. And it was just like a lot of like that. The Blue Jays didn't score in the first game. All of a sudden, the Blue Jays like, and that's the one thing you just don't know. You could win 150 games, but you come into the playoffs and you lose, you're done. You go home. That's it. And I feel like that's a lot of the things where it's like you just really never know. Like any given Sunday, any given week in baseball, I feel like, and especially this year, it's very like, like I feel like yes, the Dodgers and of course the usuals, but I don't know. Like right now, I couldn't tell you who's gonna win, and I kind of like it that way. So now that
we have the dark horse type team really just get hot at the right moment,
and that's all it takes is one team getting hot, one team getting that like, that's all it takes. We've seen it before with teams where not the Astros, the Cardinals have done it where they were 15 games out and then they won the wild card, they won the World Series. Like there's been many times, and I just can't wait. So in this Astros and Seattle series, who are you taking and how many games?
This series, I think it's going to go the whole thing. I think the Astros will pull it out, but I think Seattle's going to cause a little bit of trouble for them to deal with. Seattle's feisty. I mean, their games at home are going to be insane. Those fans have not seen a home or any playoff game really. Would you say 11 years?
Yeah, it was 2001, longest drought. Like man, it's crazy.
I mean, even the game that they clinched, where Cal Raleigh hit that home run, that stadium was like explosive. Like it was insane.
And then it was funny because after that game, they showed a highlight of when Griffey did it. Did you ever watch that documentary they did with the Mariners from like the Griffey era and everything? And it was like the exact same play. It was the exact same play on the opposite side of the field. It was like, what? Like, what is this? Like, what's going on here? Like, and sometimes it's like the universe has something planned. Now, I don't know, man. Seattle's that team that I feel like people like. Seattle could beat the Astros.
I think it's possible. That's why I think it's going the whole. It's going to go the whole series. The Cleveland and Yankees one, you could easily see being like 1, 2, 3, they're gone.
Yeah.
Whereas like Seattle, if they lose a game or lose 2 games, you never know. I mean, man, they have the pitching to compete with it and with the Astros, and I think it's going to come down to pitching. Like I would love to see Justin Verlander get it out. Him and his buddy Max Scherzer can go sit in the corner and talk about all their money and how they gave up a bunch of runs.
Did you love when they were on the Tigers together and Rick Porcello and all that? I hated them so much, man.
Every time I would go to a Sox Detroit game, they'd be like Verlander starting, and you just sit there and be like, "Wait, probably the Sox do nothing for like 7 innings, and then just hope they like put a few runs towards the end of the game."
That's the White Sox. That's the White Sox forte, man. I can't tell you how many goddamn. Man, I've been to so many games, and like we talked about it earlier, how many games like before we went off. You said you went to like 30 this year, right? You said.
Yeah, wound up with 30.
That's dedication, man. I love it. Yeah, you got to support the team no matter how bad they are. And it's just one of those things where it's just like, like some of these games are just like ridiculous. Where like
some of these games were more painful than sitting through Louisville games.
Oh, dead ass.
The expectation was like, come on. So when you're doing like we were talking about the Josh Naylor game earlier.
Let's not talk about it.
In the first inning, when the ball like went through Gavin's glove, like he didn't right away. I was there like, you have got to be kidding me. Like it's not like the ball was over his head or anything. It was just like went through my glove.
That's right. I remember that play, and then they hit a 2-run home run, and then we scored. That's right. And that we should have known when that happened. Man, I can't tell you. Like I just like that. Like it just I know it's the expectation thing, but it just like you see the talent on some of these teams, and there's other teams that were disappointing. It wasn't just us. It was the Giants. The Giants were supposed to be very good. The Orioles. Who thought that? I talked about this on my wildcard prediction show. Who saw the Orioles being this good and being literally 5 games out of the wild card? Didn't see that happening. But next year, the Orioles might very well, if they make a couple moves, they may be very well in that race all year. And maybe it might have been just a miracle season. but you don't know. And that's what it could be. You know what I mean? Where it's like next season, like people like the Phillies are also in the playoffs. So we'll talk about the Phillies because we're talking about the American League a little bit. But and it's just like you just don't know. You really don't know what's gonna happen season by season, and that's what I finally learned. It's like I want to get upset, but we also need to realize, I guess, there's another season. But I guess the way the White Sox news is coming out with Abreu might be leaving and this guy and that guy, man, I don't know. It's not you. You said you're looking forward to this offseason. I'm not looking forward to this at all. Because it might be a very sad Christmas for us here in Chicago.
This is Rick Hahne's last chance to prove himself.
Oh man,
I think
it has to be.
He's out. Like,
it needs to be done because they're not going to stay that age forever. So, who are you going to take in this series for the Astros between Seattle, and how many games?
I think it's going to be the full thing, and I think the Astros are going to pull it out in the end. They just have the experience. Like, I want Seattle to win. Seattle's like my safely, like if I were just choosing based off of my pure enjoyment of the team, Seattle. But I mean, just watching Houston, even when the Sox played them this year, they're just good. They're just annoying to like play against.
They do everything right is the problem. Like you said, they hit, they field, they and that was the other thing. Like I don't want to get too much into it because we could do a whole podcast, me and you, about the Sox. But that was the other thing, like on the post-game shows, every time Scotty Podge was like, why aren't you hitting small ball? You base hit, bunt the ball, you get the guy over, you get him in. And it was like so many times, there's so many teams, so many times that the Sox didn't do it, but then you watch like the Astros, the Guardians, the Orioles, the Padres, these teams do it so easily, and it's like, why do the Sox make everything look so hard? Like, I cannot tell you, man, I have panic attacks until the last out because it's ridiculous. Like, you just don't know.
The lack of fundamentals being pushed is so insane. Where you question whether half of you guys even know how to put it.
And that's
like if you told them, would it be where they're just throwing the bat like forward with the ball, which we don't know. I mean, you can't sit there and push the bat towards the ball. You're just going to pop it straight up or hit yourself in the face and pull a jersey.
And that's what I feel like is going to happen. Man, so like I said, we could do a whole nother podcast and shit. Maybe me and you just might. Maybe we'll just come on here for an hour and just rant about the White Sox shitty ass season. But all the people want to hear about the divisional round in the playoffs. So I'm with you. I'm gonna take the Astros too. Be realistic, but I would love to see Seattle. But I'm gonna say like 6 games. I'm gonna say Seattle wins 2, and then I'm gonna say that because I feel like Seattle's gonna come out in the first game and shock everybody. And then it's going to be Seattle's winning, and then the Astros will be like, no, not yet. So I feel like that's how it's going to go. So now that we covered the American League, and it's going to be the Yankees and Astros, me and you have, let's talk about the National League. Because there is another league here in the baseball. We got the National League. So let's talk about it. And the Phillies were another team, another surprising team that ended up winning and ended up making the playoffs. And I was very shocked because I don't know about you, but I was rooting for the Cardinals. I wanted to see the Cardinals make it. I wanted to see them move on. I love Albert Pujols, Yadier Molina. As being a Cubs hater too, I always love watching the Cardinals beat the shit out of the Cubs. That's a good time. So I was very upset to see them lose 2-0. But the Phillies are another team. They're young. They got like the pitching. They have all that experience. They won 2-0. And then the other team that moved on in the wild card round was the team. And I don't know if you've seen my other shows or if you've watched some of them, but I've literally said it. I don't know why the Padres traded away their whole farm system to the Nationals to get Juan Soto. And I get Juan Soto's the greatest of all time right now, and he's this great player. But they're still, I don't know how you feel about this, but I feel like they're not going to still beat the Dodgers. Like, it's one of those things, like, they beat the Mets. It was a 2-1 series. New York won over 100 games. Disappointing ending to their season. But the Padres now are going up against the Dodgers. Dodgers are the best team in all of God's creation. And I just don't know if the Padres are going to be able to stand up and handle them. Maybe they do. But how do you feel about it?
I think there's a few factors that either guys are going to step up or they're going to get rolled over by the Dodgers. Starting pitching, again, like I pointed out with Cleveland, so you burn your what was it, 2 or no 3? They burned 3 of their starters.
Yeah, because it went.
I mean,
It was the only series.
Now.
The only series that went 3 games. And that was the other thing I was very shocked about. It was like the teams, like I feel like the teams that played so hard and tried so hard to get there, and obviously the Rays and Blue Jays have to because they're in the Yankees division, but they came into the playoffs. It's like those extra days like messed them up, and they got out of their rhythm and they came in and forgot how to play baseball. And like you mentioned earlier, the home teams did nothing. Or I don't know if you mentioned that earlier or before we recorded. The home teams did nothing, pretty much. All the road teams were the teams that did
Cleveland, I think,
good.
was the only series where the team won.
Yeah, Cleveland. Yeah. Make sure I keep saying Indians. I mean Guardians. Keep doing it to myself. But yeah, man, I don't know how you feel about this, but I just do not see the Dodgers losing. I mean, they're the Dodgers. They find guys coming out of the woodwork. I feel like they find these guys off the street and be like, "Oh, you want to play baseball?" And they come out to be like superstars. Like some of these guys that they've had the last 5-6 years.
Trey Thompson, former White Sox.
Oh my God, man!
And now he wants to play baseball.
Man, imagine like, man, like I said, maybe we'll have to do that podcast because Trace Thompson. We go on and on about the guys that are on different teams right now, like Chris Bassett and this guy and that guy, Moist. But oh my God. But
that's just the point of like that guy was very minimal on the White Sox.
Yeah,
the Dodgers found a way to figure out what needed to be done with him.
And it's like and I feel like this is with a lot of teams. They give up on these guys so fast. Like there's a lot of these teams that like give up on these guys, and then they go to another team. Yes, maybe sometimes it doesn't fit, but then they come out and turn out to be these great players that are just like, damn, like they're really good. So
I was talking about this with someone earlier. The Dodgers like to sit and spend money, but when they get caught in a bad contract, they draft really well. They always have. They'll be willing to unload very high prospects to unload a bad contract, and that's where they have to go. And they find these dark horse type players who some team gave up on, and they figure out where to develop them, where they're able to be successful. And it drives me nuts because you think more teams back that way, but apparently no owner wants to spend that much money.
No, not especially not, no.
Except the Mets owner.
What's that?
Doesn't work.
What's spending money? I don't know what that is. We don't live in that world. We're cheap. We're gonna go pay $1 million for Josh Harrison because he played on the Tigers. I love Josh Harrison though. He's fun. He grew on me as the season went on, but. The Dodgers and Padres, how many games do you think this is going to? I feel like this is the one series that is going to go 5 games. Padres win 1, and then the Dodgers learn how to, and then they just sweep their ass. I feel like that's how
I could agree with that. I mean, the Padres make a lot of the game, but the Dodgers, they've just been splitting weight.
Yeah, and that's the thing. They always find a way to do it.
Like, I'm going to get you. The Dodgers are like an all-star team.
It's sick. Man, they find these guys out of nowhere, and they come out of nowhere, and these guys, they're just so good. I want to go live in LA just to root for the Dodgers. So, the Dodgers go into the NLCS. And now the next series, we have the Atlanta Braves, the defending World Series champions, still here, still playing, still going up against the team that did beat the St. Louis Cardinals, the Philadelphia Phillies. Phillies and Braves, I feel like is going to be the best series out of these 4. I feel like this is the one that I don't know who's going to win because it's going to be very shocking if the Phillies win. But then it's going to be like if the Braves win.
Yeah.
It's going to be like Braves and Dodgers. Because wasn't it Braves and Dodgers last year in the NLCS? I forget.
Yeah, and then the Braves came out.
Yeah. So that's the thing. It's like, are they setting this up for a rematch of the championship? Or are the Phillies going to pull it out? Or are the Phillies going to be the miracle team? And could they beat the Dodgers? Like, imagine, man. What if we see Phillies versus Seattle in the World Series? It's the J.P. Crawford World Series.
I wouldn't be disappointed, to be honest with you. I mean, eventually you get sick of watching like the Dodgers.
Oh man, no, I would be down for that World Series. It would be so cool. It would be something different. And of course, if you're a Dodgers fan, you love it. And if the White Sox were doing it every year, we would be like partying like 1928. But it's like, I mean, yeah, like eventually I feel like, like even like with football sometimes, like the last year's Super Bowl, nobody saw that coming. Nobody was looking at the Bengals versus the Rams to be the Super Bowl. I didn't, certainly. And now the Bengals lost last night to Justin Tucker. It's just one of those things where it's just like, I feel like this is the one where it's like, because like the Braves are the defending champions, and I feel like the Braves still have something to prove because they did lose Freddie Freeman. He's on the Dodgers. Because what if it's the Braves and Dodgers? Can Freddie be the team to win back-to-back World Series? That'd be great. That would be funny. That would be
Or does Dad Olson step up and show this is why they got rid of Freddie Freeman?
Exactly. Well, and that's the thing. There's so many different storylines that I feel like that just out of the Brave Philly series that could come out of it either way that is going to make this championship series so interesting in the National League. Because I don't know, we'll see how the American League shapes up, but I feel like the Yankees are just steamrolling their way to the World Series.
I mean, even Harper's sitting there waiting for the World Series.
Oh, bro,
man, are you like Harper's year?
Man, that poor guy. He literally gets traded, and then his team wins the World Series. That was so bad. Like, that was just, I still remember, I still, like, thinking, like, still think about that, and I'm just like, damn, like, that's kind of fucked up. Like, that's why you just never know. I didn't see the Nationals winning that year, shit. So, taking the Braves and Phillies, who are you taking in this series?
I want to see the rematch. I think the Braves.
How many games?
I think it's going to go all the games. I think it's going to go
7 games. It's 7, right? Is it 7 the rest of the way?
I don't know. That was the thing. Like last year, the ALDS was 5.
Was it 5?
I don't know if it changed.
Does it say it?
Or the divisional series. I don't know if that changed. I think it's 5.
Yeah. They need to figure out what they're doing. Like they need to it's very annoying how they just continue to pick it. Like they pick it and then they don't and then
it's Manfred, man.
Oh, gotta love his ass. Oh. Well, yeah, I agree with you. I think the Phillies possibly could have a shot, but in the end, I am going to take the Braves, and I would love to see the rematch because either way, I feel like
I'm just a subscriber. They left another young poor guy out. I think it was like 75 million guaranteed or something. They just signed an extension today. I mean, the Braves just did that whole format where you're like, that's what you should be doing if you have a young player. You extend all of them.
Yeah, that's what you usually supposed to do. It just, man, I wish I could fire his ass myself. Go down to guaranteed rate and send his ass. I'd give him some money. We should all just chip in to give him money so he could sign Judge this offseason. I did that in franchise mode on the show. I finished 2022, so and I went to 2023. I got rid of half my outfield and signed Judge. I was like, let's go. I had Judge, Eloy, and Robert. Let's go. We finally got an outfield. Let's do it. Imagine that man hitting home runs in guaranteed rate field behind me. Beautiful. While we're sitting here, where was your... Because I'm curious, because you said you've been to a lot of games. Where is the favorite place you've ever sat?
So I sat everywhere in the stadium except the guaranteed rate club seats. Up until
right behind the dugout? Or behind home plate?
Yeah, it's behind home plate. It's I think it's the same level as the local suites.
Oh, is it the one where those people walk through, where if you're watching the game, all the people are walking in and out of?
Not the scout seats. It's like the club level ones.
Oh, okay.
So the scout ones right behind home plate. Those are nice. But in all honesty, because you have that little bit of the height advantage with the club ones, because both of them all you can eat all you can drink. So if anyone ever invites you to scout seats or guaranteed rate field club seats, I don't care what you have going on. Drop everything in you.
I'll take your word on it, man. Because I agree, man. I'm one of those where I don't care what it is, what day it is, what year it is. If I had the money, I would go to as many games as I possibly could. I love the side. Hey, I got my Jason Benetti fan club. Hell, you got to join the Jason Benetti fan club. I tried to get the Steve Stone one, but man, they sold out of those things so goddamn fast. I was like, damn. And like I know you can't see it, but I'll have to send you a video. I have like 50 bobbleheads, and it's ridiculous. It's just man, the fandom that I have for this team is disgusting. So now that we picked and we said who we think is going to move on to the championship series, I have a lot of people in the chat. So if you want to stay and hang out for a little bit longer, catch up on the chat, see what everybody's saying, see who they are picking. And I do have a lot of wrestling fans, so they're talking about all the craziness. I don't know if you've seen anything. I know you said you really haven't watched wrestling, but they've been doing these QR codes on weekly wrestling programming. So people have been literally taking their phones, pausing it, taking the QR code, and then and trying to uncode it as the show goes on, as like a superstar returning. So it's like they're doing all types of like this crazy stuff that people are just going bananas for. So we got Melinda in the building. She says, "Hey Tino, what's up, Melinda? How are you doing?" Eric, how are you doing, Eric? How's everybody doing today? I appreciate you guys coming and hanging out with me and SouthSideDeetch, right? I keep saying it wrong, man.
Yeah, no, that was right.
Deetch, okay. I just want to keep saying it. I keep getting it wrong. I'm like, I don't want to say it wrong. So I appreciate everybody coming and hanging out, talking a little baseball. We got Monday Night Football tonight. I need one catch from Darren Waller, man. I am down by 0.4. I need a catch. This mother effer better get a catch. I'm going to scream. So, everybody, who else we got? Melinda. We got Hassan in the building. What's up, Hassan? Thanks for coming and hanging out. Hassan, we got no poll for you, my guy. Hassan always wants to do a poll and always yells at me. He's like, Tino, get your poll on. Like, man, there's nothing on. Like, nothing. What are we going to vote on? He also says, Tino, where'd the message go? He says, Tino, who's this? This is my man. This is my man, my friend. Welcome, Hassan, welcome to Tino's time. You got to, like, come on. We'll make him a regular here.
Yeah,
especially next year, man. Baseball season.
You need baseball, I got you.
Yeah, I mean, hey, especially
baseball, I'm all
Let's go. Man, let's go to a game together, too. There we go.
Oh, yeah.
So it's man. Too bad we didn't start. We could have done like a weekly Sox rant with each other all season this year.
Yeah, group therapy.
Literally, that's why I'm saying maybe we should just do that episode one and down the road after the season, so then we can get a little frustrations out. Melinda says, we talking baseball. Yes, we are. We're taking a break from wrestling, Melinda. I am exhausted from wrestling. I just am man, they need an off season. You talk about liking an off season. Wrestling needs a goddamn off season. They don't have any off season. They go all day, all year. It never stops. They just need to like. Hassan says he's watching Ghostbusters. Do you ever watch Ghostbusters?
Not the cartoon.
I didn't even know they had a cartoon. I didn't even know they had a cartoon. True. Do you ever see the Ghostbusters movies? Like the real ones that like recently have came out and stuff.
I saw the older ones. I haven't seen the recent ones.
Because I know
the old one with like Bill Murray, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then there was one with like an all like girls cast. I think they came out like 2015 or something. I don't know. I know it didn't do very good for some reason, but yeah.
The remakes make it good.
That's all these movies are now, are remakes. Everything's a remake. I'm surprised they haven't done a remake of Field of Dreams, and I really hope they never do, because they ruined that movie. They ruined that game this year. That's another thing. Don't get me started on the Field of Dreams game, because that was awful.
Well, did you hear what they're doing now? They're spending it for a couple of years to build like hotels and stuff in the area.
Ridiculous.
It's all about that money.
That's all it is. They should have kept it, and then what they should have done was either kept it the White Sox every year, or the team that won the game.
Whoever wins plays the next year.
Yeah.
Because you draw such a crowd to watch that game. If like the Sox won, hypothetically, the Yankees, they play again this year. The third year, people are just going to come in who hate the Sox and just be like, please, I want to watch them lose. Like, I'm so tired of it. Like,
well, and that's the thing where it's like they need to come up with something where it actually means something. And yes, I get it's all about like the moment and this and that, but it's like all they're doing is trying to get people to go watch the game there. And at this point, it's like it's going to become one of those things where it's not going to be as rare. You know what I mean? Where it's going to be obviously like. And especially the hotels.
Junior and like Kindergarten Senior play that. It's like that part was cool. But other than that, it's kind of just like both teams tomorrow. who wants to spend their whole night watching it?
Exactly, and that was the thing. At least with like the Sox and Yankees, they were at least when the Sox were good. We thought they were. Well, they were good that year. I mean, that's the thing. At least it was two teams that were in the playoffs race. The Reds and Cubs were not in. They weren't doing anything. They weren't good, and it's like I don't know.
And they knew both teams were downtrending when they said it was them. That's what pissed me off. Like the Cubs had already sold off everything. It came out like 2 weeks after the Cubs got rid of Ryan Biles. After that, where it's like, I mean, just take a different approach then. If that was your plan, whatever. But they decided to unload their whole team, so there's no way this is going to be an enjoyable watch next year. Like, I'm sorry, that just is what it is.
Well, and especially because they put it on Fox, it's going to be one of those things that people aren't going to really want to watch because they're not good games. Especially like Thursday Night Football is another example. As much as I love my Chicago Bears, but if I wasn't a Bears fan, I'm not watching Thursday Night Football, the Commanders and the Bears, or I'm not like these games on some of these nights that they put on primetime are just awful. It's like that they don't care. It's like if they put a game on that everybody wanted to watch, like the Bills and Chiefs, or like those types of games that after these teams are good, it's like they don't understand marketing sometimes, I swear.
Well, so then I'll ask you this. With all the new streaming channels, like Friday Night Football, Apple TV, I think what's really messed up is I'm tired of listening to people who don't know what they're talking about in regards to my team. Like Tony LaRoche.
Oh my God.
Tony LaRoche. Where it's just like, how do you not know how to put in Tony LaRue's game? Like, I'm sorry, it's not the new name in baseball. So when I'm looking at the game, you're like, Tony LaRueche, you're just like, come on.
Oh my God, man! I cannot tell you. I argue with so many people over it, and like I said, I think I said this earlier, and people try to argue with me. I'm like, don't argue with me about my White Sox. I've been watching them since 2000. Since 2000, I still remember listening to Hawk Harrelson's voice when I was like a kid, and that's all I would hear. I still do it. I got a bobblehead that says the sounds, and I'm one of those where I'm like, if you do not remember, like I said earlier, Brent Nillibridge, Connor Gillespie, the 2016 team, the 2010 teams, the flipping Jordan Danks, John Danks, these awful and you want to come at me and try to talk about how Anderson sucks, and you have not seen a team that sucks unless you've watched a team be as bad as they were then in the early 2000s and the 2010s.
Nicky Delmonico,
Adam Dunn, Adam LaRoche, the kid, the Dallas Keuchel. Oh my God, it's Polkamania, baby. We're talking about wrestling in here. Let's get about Polkamania, and that's the thing where it's like it's irritating because it's just like one of those things where it's like, don't sit there and talk about it. If you don't know it or you don't know what you're talking about, like just don't say it. Like that's fine, you don't know it, but then don't try to come at me because Tony La Russa managed in 1983 and he was. No, it's not 1983. It's fucking 2022, and I don't like to swear very much on my podcast, but damn. Shit irritates me sometimes, and I'm just like, come on, and it's just like, why? Like, I cannot, like, I don't do it on Twitter, because I just don't have the time to argue with people, and I don't care. Like, people try to argue with me on my Instagram posts sometimes, I just don't even respond. I'm like, I don't got time for you. I got better things to do. I'm trying to make a name. If you want to go find me somewhere, it's just like, yeah. So I feel you with that, because it's just like, like, don't. You need... Like I said, the satisfaction that if the Sox ever do win or anything, or if any of the teams that I root for ever win, it's that because you've been there since the ups and the downs, or that's why like with like the other sports or like the wrestlers, like you see somebody at their low, they win a championship, they're at their high, you want to be there with it, so then you see the growth, and it's just one of those things where it just man,
like I really follow the Blackhawks when they're off. Like you go to a game for like $10.
Oh, man, remember when they won I tried to get tickets for me and my dad in 2015, it was like one of the years after they won it, and the tickets were like $300-$400. I was like, we can't go, and yeah, that's what it is now. It's like $10, and that's what it was at the Sox games. Like when I had my season tickets I mentioned earlier, I was like, they were like really cheap, and I would be able to sit there, sit here. But now you go, because they were supposed to be good, you can't sit nowhere, and I'm sure at the end of the season you could. But the beginning in like April and May, I'm sure it was ridiculous. I only went to like 2 games this year. So.
It was insane this year. Like if you had upper deck tickets, or no, lower level tickets, you scan your ticket at security, then you'd walk up the stairs, and then you'd have to be waiting at the 100 level to scan your ticket again to get into the 100 level doors. Because they were just like, we're not letting anyone wander this whole stadium. It's just
oh
like,
my God. Like, oh
it's
my
a bad
God.
move.
It's just like, oh my God. And like, I get it during like the big games, like the bobbleheads and this and that, like Cubs Sox or whatever. But like, if we're playing I keep saying the Guardians or the Royals that we play 50 times a season, what are we gonna do?
Especially during the week and early on in the season. I mean, people just don't show up.
Yeah. And that's the thing, like in the beginning, nobody was probably showing up in April and May. I wouldn't go to a game. I'm sorry, but I hate the cold and I can't do it. Like I tried. I went to a one game in 2017. We saw rain, snow, sun, rain, snow, and we ended up winning. But it was just, I was like, bro, I can't do it. Like I was so cold. I have a picture of me and I'm sitting there like this. I'm like, yeah, Bray, you hit a home run, yay! I'm like, geez, I'm like, bro. So I can't do those cold games anymore. But yeah, and that's what it is. Where it's just like, let sit wherever the hell you want. I don't know. It is what it is. So I appreciate you coming and hanging out with me, talking a little baseball. How did Oh God, I forgot where I was going with that. man, I can't. I need like a day of like just forgetting about it. There's too much going on. All these baseball, wrestling, football. Dude, are you watching the game tonight? You got anything going on for the game?
The football game?
Yeah. Do you you're not that?
My players are all kind of done. I do a lot of like I'll bounce back between games on Mondays based off of like I think I'm in like 5 fantasy football leagues.
Oh, okay. Do you
So
play any for
I
money?
just do more so like player watch as
Oh,
opposed
okay.
to
Yeah.
I mean I'll watch the Bears, but I mean I set the expectations of the Bears is like Ryan Poles took over in record franchise. So anyone who's upset with him, it's like, what did you want him to do? I mean, he had shitty contract.
Yeah.
He was completely all his draft picks taken away because Pace just decided I'm going to build every possible asset we have. So
Yeah,
I mean,
and that's
this year it's just like, why do you care that much? Like
yeah.
you have the expectation, like if you win 8 games, that's a competitive year for you.
I
Just
mean,
get
yeah.
picks.
Uh,
Trade David Montgomery. Get rid of. You're not resigning him. Trade him.
I mean, and that's what it has to be because it's like that's what happened. And my friend even because my friend's very like into football and he does all like the analysis and he knows all this stuff and everything. And he told me that he's like, why are you upset? He was because I was like, I'm frustrated. I'm like, we should not have lost to the fucking Giants. I'm like, it irritates me. He's like, why are you upset? We weren't having any expectations. We won 2 out of the first 4. We weren't or 5 that we weren't supposed to. I'm like, you're right, and it's like one of those things where it's like you do have to think that because it's like. Once all these contracts, because the contracts that they're paying is ridiculous. Like, I didn't realize how much money this man was just handed out. He's like, you have money, you get money, yeah, everybody gets money.
Yeah.
And they're not, Tariq Cohen's getting paid, and we haven't seen him on the field in a year and a half. And it's like, that's what happens with baseball, too. I feel like these guys get paid, and they don't care. Like, Correa and Baez is a perfect example. They were on teams that were under 500, and maybe that might not have been their complete fault, but they could have had a chance to stay on the Astros or go to a better team, and they decided to take the money and go to shittier teams. But then you're gonna go bitch because your team sucks. That's not you wanted the money. Like you know what I mean? Like
as much as people hate Terry Ryan, I do not mind him not giving out like 10-year contracts like 400 million or anything like that. Like at the end of that contract, you're gonna be sitting there like Jesus Christ, we're paying
exactly. Well, I mean, think about like the Albert Pujols deal. Do you remember back when Pujols signed that deal in like 2009 or 10?
Yeah,
everybody's like, yeah, and it was like he's gonna be here for 10 years. It's gonna be 2020 whatever year, and he's still gonna be here, and they're gonna win 6 championships, and they didn't win any. And he was there, and he didn't like the only thing he did was pile up stats. And it's like, that's a perfect example. Or like the Manny Machado deal or all these deals that are getting done now. Francisco Tatis. Like, as much as I would have loved to have the man on our team for whatever amount, I'm happy he's not because I don't want to deal with that nonsense with whatever the hell he's going through. And it's just one of those
the motorcycle thing was ridiculous.
Oh, yeah, don't get me started on the
So he gets in the motorcycle accident. They have him go talk to the media. And the media asks him, something about like the motorcycle accident, and he goes, "Which one?" Where it's like, who the hell let this guy just sit here and just say it? Where it's like, stop. Like, just leave it at one. There didn't need to be multiple accidents that you were in. Like, I'm not sure which one you're talking about. Like,
it's just like, what are you talking about, bro? Like, you're crazy. What? Like, come on now. It's just, man, it's wild. So
I heard they owned him though. After that, it was like you were going to listen to us, and that is it, or you will get because they could technically break his contract.
Oh yeah, I know. Yeah. Well, that's the thing where it's like
just like an idiot, like crashing a motorcycle.
And that's what some of these guys don't realize. I feel like they're so stupid because they do these idiotic things and they ruin their career when you work so hard to get there and you'll do something so stupid. And it's like, come on now. Like, why? Just because you think you're the best in the world? You're not the best. Yohan Moncada was supposed to be MVP by now. He's not fucking MVP. Like, you're not the best in the world until you get out there and prove it you're the best in the world. Like, you know, like, come on now. Brady's the best in the world. He goes out there and wins a Super Bowl every year and he don't care what team he has.
Prime example of that. Did you see Louis Robert just bought a $12.5 million house in Florida?
Huh?
Yeah.
What? Man, oh my god.
I'll have to send you the link. I shit you not. This place has like multiple pools, a half-court basketball court in the backyard, like 20-feet movie theater in the basement. Where you're just like, maybe just focus on baseball. Like that's all I ask.
That's what irritates me,
bro. You're not performing on the field, and that's where you're getting all your money. It's kind of like, dude, figure it out.
Like, and that's the point where it's like the Sox are a perfect example, or the Giants and stuff. And it's one of those things where you supposed to be good, you're supposed to do this, and your team sucks it up and is the most disappointment. I'm sorry, but the Sox 2020 team is going to go down as one of the biggest disappointments in MLB history. The talent, the team, the lineup that they had at the beginning of the season, as many experts and everybody that picked them to win, and they ended up this. And that's the thing where it's like, you do that, I'm sorry, but your ass should be in the fucking cage the next day, learning how to steal, learning how to take, not hurt yourself, not run down the base, learn how to run down. Like, I'm sorry, but these guys should be in the dugout and learning how to do different types of things all offseason to come back and prove the Guardians, keep doing it to myself, the Guardians and the Twins and all of them, that they're the team that we're supposed to be. Because if they don't, what are they going to... They're going to have... They need to come in with a chip on their shoulder next year. And prove to everybody that they're the team that they were supposed to be this year. Because if they don't, this team is going to fall apart. We're going to be back in 2012. And it's starting a whole new rebuild. And I'm sorry, but I can't go through that again. My heart can't handle that, man. That much losing anymore, man. My body, like, just can't...
people posting the videos of Khan one interview where he's like... Just wait for me to the parade. What parade? We
didn't get no parade. I'm waiting for a parade. Shit, I'm about to have a parade for myself. Shit. Tino won the championship last year himself in fantasy. I'll have my own parade. Shit, like, I'm over. I want you to prove it to me. You can't blame injuries. You can't blame this bullshit. And that's the other thing. You can say injuries and this and that, but when everybody was healthy, besides Anderson, nobody still hit the ball. And then they did their perfect September, we're out of the race, and then we're going to win 7 out of 8. And then we're going into next year with momentum. We're going to be
biggest issue I had. I didn't mind adding AJ Pollock, signing Josh Harrison. That was fine. But you needed to add a bit out there. Because I said, Andrew Vaughn and Gavin should not be what you rely on. Yeah. Neither of them. I'll give Gavin credit. Gavin busted his ass all year and significantly improved in the out. Andrew Vaughn is painful to watch. Balls hit him, and you're sitting there like cringing more than Leroy on the support in my opinion. Where you're just like, catch the ball, come on, do it. Like,
I can't tell you how many times I went like this. I'm like, please catch the ball.
I mean, he might as well be like kid from the Sandlot, where he closes his eyes and he's just like, please, man. It's just like, come on, dude.
It just, and you've seen it happen. And then that game versus the Orioles was another perfect example. You drop the ball and it bounces off your glove. Come on now. And then
Adam can go.
Oh my god, man! Like I said, we're gonna come back here. I'm gonna set it up. We're gonna do it after the World Series is over. Me and you are gonna come out. We're gonna vent about the White Sox for an hour. Like I said, we could do this all day long. So, I appreciate you coming on here and talking the divisional round with me, talking a little, getting some anger out about the White Sox and talking about the wild card and everything, man.
Oh yeah,
But
thanks for having me.
man, like I said, you got to come back and maybe I could have you on for a watch along of football or something like that. But I got to get ready for Monday Night Raw and Monday Night Football.
All right, you enjoy that, man.
So, if you want to come and hang out later, come and hang out with me, watch some football, watch some Raw. I need Darren Waller, like I said, to get his catch. So pray for Tino. He gets the catch. I need to win. Man, it's awful. I started Ryan Tannehill over Geno Smith. I sat David Montgomery. Didn't realize that David Montgomery was active until 12:05, and I couldn't change my lineup. Every decision I made this week, it was just awful. So
I did Jared Goff and TJ Hockenson in my lineup. We're just
what happened to the Lions, man? They were just awful. They were just a mess.
Yeah. This week after week, you're just like, I don't even know who's anymore. That's why I hate having multiple because you're just like, second I bench one who I think I can bench, you're going to go off. And the guy who's playing is going to do nothing.
That's exactly how I feel. I've literally gotten to the point where because I do my shows every week, I'm like, just don't listen to me or do the opposite of what I say, because obviously what I'm telling you is wrong, and then what I don't tell you to do is right. So just do the opposite of what I say, because it's over. It's ridiculous. I have no idea. I'm just like, I didn't think Geno Smith would be better than this guy and that guy, and man, any given Sunday, I guess. So, like I said, I appreciate you coming and hang out. If there's any place you can tell all the people here on Tino's Time to follow you, get some White Sox knowledge. I know you're a funny guy on Twitter, man. I'll tell you what, I love your post. You're funny. So
yeah, I got a little bit of sarcasm. I mean, I try and be positive, but sometimes you're just
positive vibes only, man. That's all you can do.
All right. Have a good one, guys. So,
do you have a YouTube channel or anything?
No, man.
No. Oh, I see. Yeah. Nah. All right.
We're in the beginning stages of it all. Still growing.
Hey, that works, man. So I appreciate you. I'll keep in touch with you. I'll talk a little bit later. So thank you for coming here on Tino's Time, and I'll talk to you later, man. Thank you.
All right, thanks for having me.
Thank you to SouthSideDeetch for coming and hanging out here on Tino's Time and talking a little baseball, wild card round, and the divisional round. Sorry, guys, about the beginning of that. Your boy Tino messed up. He thought he had it all set up. He thought he had everything ready, but everything can't go perfect every time here, guys. It can't be perfect here on Tino's Time every time. I'm sorry. It can't be. But, guys, that was it. That's all I got here for you for the baseball season. We're here. It's down to the final 8. We'll see who moves on, and we'll be back here when it's down to the final 4, and I'll be talking, and I'll be covering it, and I'll be letting you know who I think is going to the World Series, and maybe we'll have another special guest here on the show. I don't know. We'll figure it out, guys. But we're not done here yet on Tino's Time. As you guys know, we'll be live here in just a few short hours as we get ready. Guys, I only got 2 words for you. Suck it, as we get ready to celebrate the 25-year anniversary of one of the best stables in the world, D-Generation X. We're going to see Seth freaking Rollins after a match with Matt Riddle and that fight pit. He's going to go up against Bobby Lashley. Can he take the United States champion and become the A champion on Raw since Roman Reigns don't want to show up? We're going to hear from the White Rabbit. It was revealed Bray Wyatt is back in the WWE. Thank you, Bray. We saw the weird Firefly Funhouse, guys. The Firefly Funhouse has come to life, and the characters are alive. Are we going to see them unmask themselves? Let me know if you could find the characters. I know we could kind of see one of them, but let me know if you could find all 4 characters. I got them here on the thumbnail. So, everybody, we'll be live here in about an hour and 15 minutes to watch Monday Night Raw and watch oh my God, I forgot who was playing on Monday Night Football. We're going to go and watch the Kansas City Chiefs go up against the Las Vegas Raiders. It's Darren Waller and Derek Carr going up against Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce. Your boy Tino needs 1 catch from Darren Waller, so come and hang out, everybody. We'll be live at 6:45 for a Monday Night Raw and NFL football, Monday Night Football watch along. So thank you guys all for coming here and hanging out on Tino's Time. Thank you, SouthSideDeetch, for joining me. Remember, guys, to go follow us on SoundCloud and Spotify for all the audio versions at Tino's Time. Tino's Time Wrestling on Instagram and Facebook. Tino's Time 1996 on Twitter, TikTok, and Instagram. Guys, remember to hit that like button. Remember to subscribe. Remember to join the raffle. We're only 10 away to 400. So make sure you guys join Tino's Nation. And 109 away from the raffle. We're only 9 away from 400. And guys, remember to turn that notification button on so you know when we go live for all the watch-alongs, all the preview shows, collections, episodes, and so much more. So, everybody, I'll see you guys all in an hour. And until then, this is your boy Tino, signing out.